I was not advised by anyone that college was in my future when I was in high school. I was a farm kid, and I spent all my time in the barn and out in the field on the tractor and so on. One reason why I went into the military was to learn a trade, and I was a jet engine mechanic for 4 years. When I was an undergraduate at Minnesota, I didn't realize that there was a discipline called geography. I'd always enjoyed maps as a kid, but that first class from Fred Lukerman convinced me that this was a perspective that I had never thought of before. Seeing the world spatially in terms of its places, seeing it in terms of how people interacted with place and with landscape, whether it's the physical environment or the built environment. And I thought there was a lot of explanatory power in a geographical perspective. I thought it helped me understand the world in a way that I had not conceived of before. And it was addicting. The more you did it, the more you read, the more informed you felt, the more you understood when you simply lived your daily life. My wife Karl and I traveled while we were graduate students, and one of the places that we had traveled through was central Kentucky. Being rather brash, I sent a letter of application to Dr. Karen, who was the chairman of the department here, and about May, I received a note from him saying, "We've had an unexpected resignation, and there were courses scheduled for the fall semester," and he said, "We need somebody to teach these classes. Will you accept a one-year visiting position?" So I said, of course. A couple of weeks later, Dr. Karen came down to my office and said, "I understand you're applying for jobs." And I said, "Well, yes." I said, "This is a one-year visiting position." And he said, "Well, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay." I stayed for 43 years and enjoyed it immensely. In the late 1980s, Dick Ulek thought it was necessary to update the Kentucky Atlas that had been done in the 1970s. We had a cartographic lab that was set up in Miller Hall, and that was before Miller Hall was refurbished. But we were coming to the beginning of the computer cartography period. And in the process of working on the atlas, we converted the lab from manual cartography to computer graphics. At about the 11th year, most of the work had been finished, and we ended up with 1,000 maps, tables, graphs, diagrams. The book weighed, I think, 4 pounds. My wife, Karl, is a home economist and a dietitian. She and I came from a background where there was minimal support for higher education. And a few years ago, we put together a scholarship fund for undergraduates, especially women and minority students who are deeply unrepresented in geography. I served as chair of the department in 3 different periods that totaled 17 years as a chair and then 1 year as an acting chair. The department has become very much a family for Karl and I. We visit one another's houses, we have meals together, we very much enjoy one another's company. It's a professional experience on the one hand, but it's also an intimate family-like experience on the other hand, and that's very gratifying. I consider myself to be extremely fortunate. All of the little accidental things that happened to me on my way to this point are extraordinary in the whole.